Hello, heroes, and welcome to the One Shot Twitch channel. I'm your host, Tracy Barnett. I am here to play for perhaps the last time for this Kickstarter, we'll see, to play You Are the Dungeon, and I have two extremely special guests with me. I have Aaron Catano-Saez and Jeff Stormer from the All My Fantasy Children podcast, a podcast you should be listening to. It's here on the One Shot Network. It is dope. I was their first guest. Now they get to be my guest.
Yay, yay!
Last guest.
Yes.
I like this. There's the circle, the cosmic dance advances ever onward.
Yes, it does.
Sure.
Aaron, since you popped off there, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell the people who you are and what you have going on.
Hi, I'm Aaron Catano-Saez. I'm a voice actor. I am a co-creator of All My Fantasy Children. It's a tabletop-inspired world-building, character creation, and storytelling podcast inspired by listener-submitted prompts. I'm also a cast member on Skyjack's Courier's Call. It's an all-ages actual play set in the world of Campaign Skyjacks, where it's about 14-year-olds who learn about the male magic and the magic within themselves. I'm at Jeff Stormer levels of elevator pitches, and I feel powerful because I was trained by the greatest. Now take it away, Jeff.
What, me? I don't
No.
know. I do stuff. I don't know. Who are you? Get out of here.
Get out of here. Shoot.
Get off my lawn.
My name is Jeff Stormer. I am a podcaster, game designer, and the official LARP designer of the Olive Garden restaurant. You can hear my work every week-ish. We just came back off of a several-week hiatus, but you can hear my work every week on All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by listener prompts.
Sounds familiar.
I'm also the host of the Party of One podcast. I'm the host of Party of One, which is an actual play podcast focused on two-player role-playing experiences. I'm also a game designer. I am an occasional pro wrestling commentator. And the thing that I also want to shout out, if I may shout out one more thing that I do that I think is relevant to this stream, I occasionally do marketing consulting for people, such as I did for one Tracy Barnett once upon a time, that eventually led to a Kickstarter for a game called You Are the Dungeon that I think we're about to play today.
Yes. Yeah, so for those of you who have not heard me on one of the podcasts that I've been on recently, the genesis of this game was a meeting that I had with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Stormer, where we talked about the marketing funnel. And the marketing funnel is an idea where you get people to go from hearing about you to telling other people about you in 4 steps, right? And to internalize this idea, I came up with a metaphor about being a dungeon, right, who calls adventurers to them. And as I was writing that thread, I realized that it would make a really, really cool game. And so I wrote a really, really cool game. And we are now promoting the Kickstarter for that really, really cool game. It is already funded and then some. We are approaching like $7,000 away from the first stretch goal, which is to have Gannon Reedy of the Neo Scum podcast do a full tarot deck of art
So sexy.
for this. Yeah.
Sorry?
Uh-huh.
That rules?
Yeah.
That's baller as fuck.
Yep, that is the
Damn.
first. That's the first stretch goal, and if by some stretch of the imagination the campaign hits $30,000, we will be doing a physical set of decks. I will be getting a full print run of 1,000 decks done and adding those on. Now that is, of course, a long way off, but we have 20 days to see what happens. And if you watching this, first of all, if you want to know where to find everything, you can just go to that link right there in the chat, and you can go and back the Kickstarter if that's your cup of tea. We're only 7 backers away from a clean 500 right now, so boy, that'd be cool to get to 500 backers during this stream. But anyway, to find out what you would be getting and how this works, we're gonna play You Are the Dungeon. You two ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we are playing a dungeon. We are foul beyond comprehension. We are the worst thing to happen to adventurers, and now we get to find out how we came into being. So this is how we start at the beginning, which, as I've been told, is a very good place to start. So,
For fuck's sake.
the question is to you two: what was your original form?
I have a pitch. I have a thought.
Please do, because I had a response that popped into my head that I would like for your answer.
Was it base Goku? But because that's
no,
mine.
it was an Arby's, and I would really love to go in any direction that's not that.
No. Okay. So the original form of the dungeon before it's a dungeon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the trope of a city that has been just through time, through a calamity, has become ruins. What is so common in fantasy is like something just becomes ruins. Either it's, lost in time, taken over by monsters, something, it was hit by a comet, but now it's just like the lost city type thing.
Can I throw in the most on my bullshit answer imaginable?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Can it be a flying city?
There's no reason why it can't be.
All right, so I'm gonna take this moment to pitch you to an idea that you can consider. This is not a right now answer.
Okay.
But I, though having been a guest, have never had a pitch of mine on All My Fantasy Children. I think what we're doing tonight is my pitch.
All right.
So when we're done with this, you two, if you choose, there's literally no pressure. You can say no to this. Take it and do an AMFC ep about what we do.
That's deeply satisfying.
That's good. That is, I like this. I like the feel of it. I like the taste of it on my tongue.
Fantastic.
I want to build suspense and be like, we'll think about it. Grapefruit.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of things in the hopper. We got a lot of.
We're really fucking busy anymore.
Pretty busy, we
We're not. But yeah, so Flying City is very appealing to me as a dungeon because if it's lost or turned to ruins, that is sexy.
I just named it the Flying City of Mandalorian because
I don't understand that reference.
That's okay.
Is that from Star Trek?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's like a Borg thing. Got it.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So, question 2. Who was responsible for your creation? The Flying City, that is. Oh, and by the way, we have some people here in the chat. Chat, if you want to chime in, there's no guaranteeing that we're going to use your ideas, but we are happy to field suggestions. So please.
I will be happy to steal those brilliant ideas.
Yes.
My first thought is overuse of magic or something like, the typical, magic gone wrong, but also like an over-reliance on magic has literally launched it and suspended it into the sky. Or some kind of creature or something? Is it something that... So, when there's like a flying city, it's always like on this point. The bottom is usually shaped like that. Mm-hmm. What if there's something in there? Or is it just like it lifted off because... Is it like Zeal and Chrono Trigger also, where it's like they just choose to fly above the clouds because they are dope like that and have the power? So it's interesting that you say all of that because I was legitimately considering that this was a formerly flying city that had crashed into the earth because it is no longer flying. It's fucking good.
But I disagree. Aaron, I wish that you would come back because I actually love the idea that this
Won't do it.
No, all right.
I won't do it, Jeff.
Well, hey, Tracy, thank you so much for coming back on Party of One. We are playing You Are the Dungeon this week.
Oh, are you okay now?
I had to gather my thoughts. That was really fucking bomb. So now it's crash landed.
Well, no. I actually want to say exactly the the thought that I was saying was like, it is way more interesting and compelling to me that the idea, what I want to throw out is the idea that the exact opposite, that this was a city that when it was thriving was not flying, but now that it is a hollowed out waste up among the clouds. The idea that change of scenery is very compelling to me. That sense of, the simplest way to put it is, this is in a place where it shouldn't be. And I had just not ever considered the possibility of, this is in sky now. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Can I know we're crunch on time, but can I throw out another idea?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're crunching on time at all.
Hey man, we said we had an hour. What if it is this chunk of city, this land is it's like, think Swiss cheese. It's or like a sponge, it's very light, and it was literally carried up because it has no mass anymore. It's so ruined out and hollowed that perhaps very strong gusts of winds hold it up in the sky. And so entering it is challenging. It's lost because if you have too much weight on you, I'm thinking very Legend of Zelda, you'd have to put on your most lightweight gear just to enter it. So you can't
but for magic.
You can't use magic on it?
No. What if what you're describing, that it is like a sponge that has soaked up too much water? but like what it has soaked up is too much magic, and
Yes.
simply like the laws of physics stopped applying, and thus a city that was made of heavy metal and like was foundationally planted in the earth simply floated away.
Is it still lightweight? Like, can I still bring swords on it or no? That's the thing I'd like to posit is like maybe the thing that makes it so terrifying is the idea of like, I don't know, that Buster Sword weighs like 300 pounds. If you bring it, it will go hurtling back toward, it has enough mass. Like you can't, like 3 adventurers, your party can fit on it, but you can't bring your shit.
So here's a terrifying idea. Like that is along those lines and kind of exactly what you're saying, but like in a context that I think is really interesting. Oftentimes in these sorts of fantastical, magical places, when you enter, like if we're thinking of like Annihilation, or we're thinking of like wandering into a magical space, we're thinking of going into, the weird dimension of like, where you're in the MC Escher painting, you're walking up the stairs. It is often assumed that you take on those magical properties when you enter the space, right? Like if I go into the MC Escher room, traditionally what you see in fiction is like I am walking up the various weird staircases.
Yep.
That doesn't necessarily have to happen. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at is like, just because the city is magical and floating and there's no gravity to the buildings and they are this weird weightless experience.
Yeah.
Nothing about you or that giant Buster Sword is going to have those magical properties.
And that's what's so scary about it is like you have to know, like it's not entering zero gravity. Like oftentimes in space you enter and it's like as if there's like there's no atmosphere that like makes you magically weightless.
Yeah.
You go boom and you feel this island, this floating land go sink down. And it keeps getting lower. The more shit you bring, the lower it gets.
It will literally sink into the earth and like
into hot lava.
Oh, see, I was going to propose a much different nightmare scenario.
Okay.
That for lack of a better way to put it, imagine walking across an atomic bomb. That like you walk across that like if this city hits the ground, all of that magic goes somewhere.
Oh,
like goes back into the world. Like, and so like you go on it and it sinks, right?
Okay.
You feel this city with the lack of ability to sink it, and eventually, Tracy, what do you got?
So I'm putting a timeout on this because we have to actually keep playing the game.
All right,
Sorry.
all right, fair.
I'm sorry.
No apology needed. I knew what I was getting myself into, and I invited you two on the show, right?
Tracy goes, what if this is my pitch on an AMFC episode? And Aaron and I went, well, what if we just did it now? Like,
I'm seriously considering just ripping the audio from this and giving it to you to put on the feed if you want. But anyway, so I love all of this stuff, and this is for anyone who's watching this and wonders about. I mean, granted, Aaron and Jeff do this like professionally, right? Riff on fantasy stuff and develop world building things. But we've asked 2 questions, and suddenly we have like this massive, wonderful, evil, awful floating city, and it hasn't even become a dungeon yet, right? That question's yet to come. So this is the power of questions. This is the power of world building.
This is all my fantasy children, baby.
That's right. So here's your next question. What evil took root in your heart? This is the inception moment of the dungeon, right? This is dungeon as place, dungeon as metaphor.
I have a thought, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think of it as like, because Jeff said it has to go somewhere, it makes it feel like it's a trap in Resident Evil type thing, where like it's to keep people from getting something at like inside of it. Like there's a treasure, or it has a core, it has a secret that you don't want people to get the treasure inside of your dungeon. And so it's this trapped puzzle room-esque feel to it, where if it hits the ground, kablooey, and then the treasure is lost. So you have to go in there lightweight, gearless, and that's what made the evil happen, is essentially like, I don't want anybody to have this. And if they try to get it, I'll blow the whole thing up.
The metaphor, yeah, it's I mean, to peel back the curtain in the AMFC parlance of like, Like what the metaphor, if we're talking about the metaphor is corporate greed, right? Like
I mean, yes.
That's I think it's and like really just to like put the button on that of like, yeah, there is valuable stuff in here that the people in this like this corporate giant city said, we don't want anybody to have this, and they accumulated, right? They accumulated this treasure, they accumulated this magical power. Eventually the magical power destroyed all of them, threw it into the clouds. But their desire that no one, not just that they would have this, that no one else would, is so strong that like if this city were to be brought back to the world, and theoretically the wrong of them hoarding all of this stuff would be right, their sort of disastrous greed and their disastrous sort of desire to like not just be the ones to have the thing, but the ones that no one else would have it, would singularly destroy the like all of that magic, all of that like angry like, no, this is mine, you can't have this, I don't want you to have this. It just would explode into the world. And like that's what the terror is, and the evil in the heart was that desire not just to have it. It's not just that it's not that I want it. It's that I don't want you to have it.
It is.
That shit's fire.
It's not just greed, it's avarice.
Yes, that is a good way to put it.
So, every good dungeon has monsters. Here's your next question. What foul being first heeded the call of your curse?
Oh. It's got to be shitty adventuring parties. Is that what we're talking about here? Like who treads in here, or is this who dwells inside?
This is who dwells inside, right? This is what is the first because you're
okay. So
I got something too, but you go first, Jeff. You beat me to the punch. I got one. I'm horny for it. I'm excited.
We love to be Aaron. We got to make a shirt that says "horny for prompts."
I'm so excited.
Horny for prompts, good shirt. So the thing I want to throw in is. I've been playing a lot of games that riff on a very specific thing lately, and I'm really excited about it. And the thing that is riffs on the zone or the roadside picnic or the room or the zone or all of these kind of like the premise is all kind of the same of like there is a place where things are weird, and inside that place is a room that will grant you whatever your heart most is like that you can make one wish immediately come true. Taking your adventurer pitch, if the horrible monster that heeded this call was like an avaricious adventuring party that like wandered into the middle of this city, they did all of the things, and the horrible thing, like the horrible fate that befell them was they found a room that said you can have, that said you win, your heart's desire is yours, and as such the horrible monster that dwells in the dungeon is simply these adventurers that like the thing that they wanted most was of the same kind of avarice that fueled the wizards, the ancient wizards that forged this city to begin with, like that, and it changes them by virtue of being like, this is the thing that you wanted was to forever be like stomping around a dungeon, killing things and accumulating wealth, and then that quietly changes them and quietly makes them the denizens of the dungeon.
Yes, I was thinking the adventuring part. I'm thinking very Fortnite battle royale type feel, where like the people, the monsters that heed the call are there. There can't be that many people on this island at once, and so it's people trying to throw your ass off because you're providing too much weight and making the island sink. So it's kind of like racing to the finish while keeping people are fighting each other to try to keep people off.
All right, I'm gonna do one more. Tracy,
yes, he has to be stopped.
Tracy, I promise. One more AMFC.
I'm so sorry.
AMFC
I'm so sorry.
Roll on.
Because if there's a benevolence to that idea that I want to invert in the worst way, that idea of like I have to throw you off so that the island doesn't sink. If by virtue of like being the person on this island or the person on this dungeon, this flying city, you are corrupted and you are made itself almost weightless, but your job is still to throw people off of the island. Or I keep saying island, but like the city. To throw people off of the edge. I love the idea that you're not doing it because you're afraid that the city is going to sink into the earth. You're doing it because no, fuck you, this is mine.
Mhm.
Yes.
I got mine. Screw you. Get out of here. I don't want you here because I already got mine, and you're going to try and take it from me.
100%.
I love it.
So, with that established now,
All
we
right.
get to get our drawing tools out. Flip over to slide 2 with me. And we each get to add one thing to this map that is the dungeon, right? So I'm going to establish some scale for us
All right.
first.
That sounds great.
And I'm going to do a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And I'm going to do another text box.
Whoa.
And
Oh, this is cool.
That rules.
just a note, when you rotate an object like I did, the text box rotates with it, which is why I put another text box in instead. So this is that pointed triangle, right? The base of the island itself. So you can add whatever else you want to. The guidance in the book, which usually I have my physical copy in front of my face here so I can read it, but I will read it from the PDF. Make it not complex. Remember that inchoate wickedness is often simple in its allure.
Sexy. Yeah, that's really sexy text.
Basically, it's to keep people from getting like analysis paralysis when they're coming to draw something for the first time, right? Because you don't need to be an artist to play this game. I'm not.
So I have a thought, if I may draw.
Please, I was going to put a thing in. Go ahead.
So I have this guy, and it kind of extends down below like this.
Mm-hmm.
So the entrance is therefore up at the top, but most of the structure is actually down below. And it's known as the... Boy. Oh, boy. The terrestrial spire.
Yo!
And
There we go. I just send it down into the island for you.
it's very good. And yeah, most of the structure peaks out above. It's like a little tiny opening, but it's just like a spiral staircase type swirling. Like it almost looks like something was meant to be drilled down, like almost a drill bit that you can enter with a staircase that spirals down and down and down. And the worry is that you come tumbling out of this bottom area underneath of it, you know. That's all I got.
There we go.
The thing I am gonna add is right here on the bottom. Here is this tiny little square. It is actually on the outside. It is on the outside of this seemingly endless base, right? Like it is, and what it is, tying into what I was saying earlier. This is the door. This is the door to your infinite desire. It actually literally is like an old wooden, it appears to be an actual old wooden door that is hanging on the bottom of this massive stone and metal and concrete foundation that is lifted in the sky. There is actually on the bottom of the tip of a peak of stone, there is an improbable, effortlessly floating old wooden door that if you open, you walk into a room and your desire is there. The kind of, and I get to say this on camera and I roll, the adventurers that make their way into the thing. The adventurers that make their way to the bottom of this, because I love the idea that you're going from the bottom, the top to the bottom. That's a very cool inversion of the traditional. It's simultaneously the flow of it, but in a flying city, you traditionally see you go up up the floors, and I think that's very cool to go down like a traditional dungeon.
Yeah.
But you get to the bottom. You get to the bottom floor, you still have to find a way to get out into the open air, swing down onto this door, open it and walk inside, and then doing that. But then even then, that is the ultimate trap of this is the final challenge. This will give me what I truly desire. And it's you chasing after this and throwing yourself through the air in pursuit of this foolhardy idea is the thing that is going to corrupt your heart, right? The idea that this is in some ways it is that ultimate sign of this is your last chance to go back. Only a fool would make this jump, and you're about to do this in pursuit of some material desire.
About it.
All right. Speaking of fools who are about to pursue their material desires. Flip over to slide 3 with me, please.
Let's do it.
And Aaron, go ahead and
Yes.
roll that d10 and add 3 to the result.
Using my box from Ember Hive Woodworks. Huh. I got.
They kind of like this box.
Oh yes. It's an 8 from these corn dice from Dice Buffet.
All
Plugs,
right.
plugs.
We are sending 8 adventurers into the dungeon.
Oh, fuck.
So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the tarot cards. I will read the dispositions off and paste them in here. While I'm doing that, you two can just start naming people. You can wait for the dispositions, or you can just start dropping names onto the name lines, whatever you prefer.
Can we name them after the dispositions, like named inspired by that?
If you
and their
want
tarot?
to, I've had people just name them in advance. You can just do whatever you want, and just the dispositions and the names will be fated to be, right?
They mean a lot to me, so I'm
So-
gonna go with naming them after.
Okay.
Can I just throw out one name at first, and I want Aaron to help me out here.
Yes.
Can you give me a number from 1 to 56?
It's gonna be 2. What you got, Sailor?
I was all ready to pick a cool sounding name from my list of wrestler names. And Aaron, number 2 is Freelance Freddy Uberlift.
Hey,
We don't have
Nope.
to use
Yes.
that. It's
Yes,
Type it in.
you do.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to start rolling through dispositions. So we have first the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is a Content Fletcher.
Okay. Oh, it's so bad.
Next is the 4 of Swords. The 4 of Swords is a Sneaky Oligarch.
Oh, their name is
You can just type
Viscount
it in.
Ringtail. Let me type that in.
Yeah, just type it in. Everyone can see it, so we can
Oh yeah, I
say them
forgot the
verbally
power
later.
of technology.
That's right. Next is
Viscount Ringtail is very good.
Thank you.
the 9 of Staves, or for a regular deck, Wands. And the 9 of Wands is a Faithful Thresher.
Oh, I have one. Leviathan scroll, because I saw that Leviathan-looking thing on the card.
Fantastic. Also, we need to use Arby as a name at some point in time because of the initial reference the chat suggested. We have
Perfect.
All right,
next
well, I'm putting down Arby as I'm putting
the
down.
Emperor. The Emperor is... Where's the Emperor? The Emperor is a desperate ruler.
Oh, is it
Regent.
Regent Arby or Regent Arby or Curly Fry or
Regent.
what's the beef sandwich called at Arby's?
Beat the beef and cheddar.
Yeah.
Regent. It's Regent Barrel. Regent Barrel RB.
Horsey sauce.
Oh, we got 4 more. We got...
It's Regent. It's Regent. Regent Barrel RB Ched.
That's fucking dope. Hold on, I'm
Fantastic.
looking at the Arby's menu. Fear not.
All right. Next we have the King of Discs, or Pentacles,
Okay.
who
That
is
is
a responsible weaver.
that's Ruben Smokehouse.
Nice. I'm here for it. We have the King of Swords.
That's good art.
The King of Swords is a trustworthy Cooper.
Oh, they have sliders at Arby now. God damn, where have I been?
They've got heroes. It's all over the place.
Fuck.
That's Slip Slider
Sliderson?
Iron Ring.
Slip Sliderson.
I would die for Slip Slider Iron Ring.
Next we have Justice. Justice is a pious judge.
Okay.
Justice is their first name.
Of course. Wait.
We already used Justice Judicator in an episode of AMXC.
I know.
It can't be literally be that.
Justice Judicator Jr.
Justiceman. Justiceman. Beef and Ched. There.
All right, and last is the two...
BNC. So the world detail I'm going to add, I'm actually going to put a comma here. BNC is a law degree in the fantasy world that we've concocted. So that justice
It's the proper term.
is like it's their official title as a lawyer. That was back when they came up. They're a judge. They came up through the court system, so they were a lawyer, and now they're a judge.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, and last but not least, we have the Two of Wands, which is a punctilious architect.
Milo French dip.
Aaron, I'm starting to think that maybe we're bad at podcasts.
Oh no, there's no doubt that we are not good at podcasts, but people are watching, so they're gonna watch the train just literally derail, and that's fine.
All right.
You want to see how Arby's gets made? You've been warned.
Here is how this works for the next bit.
All right.
We'll start with Jeff. Jeff, you're going to roll a d10 twice and tell me the results separately.
Okay. 6 and an 8, the least nice number imaginable.
Yes, just it's horrible. So the event that happens to freelance Freddie Uberlift, the Content Fletcher, is under torrents of sorrow, and they experience the sensation of their spine burning.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. So, we can either leave the event as it is if we think it is complete enough and a nice little bit of story to just let it be, or we can add more context. It is up to you.
I have context I want to add.
Fantastic.
Let me remind myself of what a Fletcher is, because I think I know exactly what I want it to be.
They make arrows.
That's what I thought. Freelance Freddy Uberlift was the Fletcher. Was the Fletcher for what, like the Fletcher? Basically, Freelance Freddy Uberlift. Freddy was a master of a skill that is actually incredibly difficult, which is impromptu arrow creation. He could carve an arrow in moments, and so they have a quiver on their back of arrows that they've just been carving in the dungeon, and because they are these magical arrows. What has happened is Freddy has become like washed over in the magical energy because they've been carving arrows out of this material. The magic has bled into them, so the quiver on their back burned into their flesh and slowly like dragged them into the metal of the city, melting them away for an eternity.
Oh well, we don't know yet because we will determine who leaves the city alive.
Got it.
Okay.
The energy has bled into them, and the quiver is one with their back.
Dope. Extremely cool.
All right, cool. If we're going to drop the pronouns in there, then I'm just going to drop the font size. So
well, that makes sense. Yeah, I just figured it'd be easier. Yeah. So I'm just rolling D6s vigorously.
100%. Animal D6 is go, 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 going. And so is that motorcycle that just went by my window.
It's cool. That was me, by the way, because I'm feeling really cool. Just wanted to have a quick shout out on my hog.
Aaron, we don't need shout outs about your hog. Thank you very much.
Can I get some hogs in the chat, please? Thank you. F's in the chat for my hog. Sorry. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Cool. So Aaron, roll a D10 twice. Tell me the results separately.
Shablam. 2 and 3.
Delights from the ruins, and the Viscount cracks open a cask of bog wine. Yes, in case anyone who is watching is curious, that is a campaign podcast reference.
Cask cracks open a sneaky. This is their fate.
Yes, this is the notable event that happens to them in the dungeon, and some of the things on this list do not seem horrific at first glance, but the context of the place within which it happens is what provides the horror, right?
Okay, then sneaky the sneaky oligarch Viscount Ringtail, like on it, breaks off from the group when the group is all dungeon diving, finds this like cask of, I'm thinking very cask of Amontillado, finds this like hidden, pulls a brick away and finds this barrel of a cask of bog wine, and starts to just absolutely guzzle, just tear that shit up, pouring all over those cool robes that they rock, just absolutely going ham on some forbidden hooch.
Can I add a detail?
Fuck yeah. No.
Oh, all right. Next result.
Next one.
See, believes that they found the room at the end of the dungeon.
Mhm.
Love that.
All right, so finds the cask hidden behind a wall where it was bricked up with a body, because we're going to Amontillado this, right? Then
Yeah.
someone
Oh,
was
gotta
back
be.
there
Yeah,
with
gotta
the,
be.
with the
Had
body.
to pull like a hand off of the cask. Like the skeleton arm goes flying.
Oh,
And it's like,
the
this is
other-
mine.
The other
Viditya just
skeleton
clipped
hand.
us,
Thumbs up.
yeah, Viditya just clipped us some hogs in the chat, so we can all
fuck
revel in that later. And then
Skeleton hand just thrilled. Just about like it's just like the
Hey.
Viscount was like, oh well, look how happy the skeleton was.
Cask Mackenzie totally left that behind.
That's right. Okay, Aaron, 2 dice, please.
Okay.
Oh wait,
Blah.
sorry, you did the last one. Jeff, 2 dice, please.
I was
All right. I'm actually gonna grab a second dice to make my life a little easier.
Oh yeah, true.
Let's go with this dice because it's hell colored. It's all about matching the aesthetic of your dice to the roll that you have to make.
Yeah.
Yo.
That is a 0 or a 10 and a 9.
10 and a 9. The stuff of endless nightmares.
Cool.
And
Good.
the event itself is being trapped underwater, feet
Oh.
encased in leaden boots.
So things are going well.
Great. Never been better.
Levia, no.
This is one event that people usually don't add a ton of context to because
I actually have some really
I'm
good
happy for you to
context.
do so.
The context is Levia thought that he was being extremely prudent. We've talked it just plays perfectly off of the world detail that like if you go in there with a 300-pound buster sword, like this city does not have the structural strength to support you. Levia flew into the sky. And took one was like I'm ready. I've got my lead boots. I've got my heavy plate. Took one step, plunged it down into a pool of infinite water.
That sucks. What a rotten way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Aaron, 2 dice.
Okay, I have 2d10.
Got to know how RB Ched does.
Oh God, 2 10s. RB Ched, please. It's like RB Ched makes it out, lives a great life.
Well,
10-10.
Aaron,
Actually fine.
It's great.
You are not far off. This is the most horrific entry that I have on the table.
Oh no. Regent
wait,
Barrel,
hang
RB
on.
Ched.
I placed it in the right place. Leaving unharmed, but unsure how or why.
Oh. Okay. Then how did they leave unharmed?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
not sure. The reactions in the chat are amazing. I love this.
Okay, so it is
Oh,
okay.
those are good
So
reactions.
Regent Barrel RB. Oh, Regent Barrel RB got to the door that swings open. You know the Jeff door. What's his name?
The Door of Infinite Desire.
The Door of Infinite Desires. Reached it, heard the whispers of like, do it, Chad, and said no. Everything went black. Woke up on the land.
Love it.
Because they resisted the temptation, the Regent RB Ched woke up in the middle of a town. It's like the end of Rudy, and everyone's lifting up Ched. So something heroic may have happened, but the Regent Barrel RB Ched will never know the story of what happened.
I love it. I love it so much.
It's good. That's real good.
Fantastic. Jeff,
Poor RB.
twice dice.
Twice dice. That's a 3 and a 3.
3 horrible beauties, and the event is a perfectly tuned harp.
Ooh.
Ruben, so Ruben also got to the bottom and the voices that Ruben heard was the most beautiful, perfect heart music that they had ever heard, but they didn't jump far enough, and so they are falling.
No.
And they have no idea how long they've been falling, and they don't seem to be getting any closer to the ground.
That sucks. This place sucks.
He's figured it out, kids.
Yeah, the dungeon sucks.
Aaron, 2 dice, please.
Shazam. Let's get it. Bap. That's a 9 and fudge. And a 10. I had to roll it again.
Wonders Beyond Reckoning is the category, and this is perfect for this dungeon. They find the object of their deepest, most secret desires. There's a door for that.
Yeah, there is a door for that. So who is this? Is this Ruben? Or this is Slip Slider Iron Ring. So Slip Slider reaches the door and opens it. And when they come out the other side, they're in like a world they don't recognize. And, you know, they're like 9 years old. They might have went in at they went in and Slip Slider was a little older. Slips was like 76. Reached the door and opened it. When they came out, it was like this beautiful day. The sky was clear. Slip looks up and there's no city in the sky. Slip looks at her hands, and they're like the hands that she had when she was like 10. And she realizes that she kind of gets to do it all over again, but know what she knows now. And that was her greatest desire. That was the wonder of the world. Get to redo life, but with the brain of a 76-year-old and all the wisdom that comes with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jeff, 2 dice, please.
2 dice. Justiceman, BNC. That's a 10 and a 4. It's 10-4, good buddy.
10-4. The stuff of endless nightmares. Justice Justerson VNC. Their arms are replaced by writhing tentacles.
Oh, no.
It's odd. It's odd that somehow I also rolled the same thing that Aaron just rolled of the object of their deepest and most secret desires. Because Justice Justiceman is now a shambling cosmic horror representation of carceral justice.
The fuck does that mean?
They are judge, jury, and executioner, except they are a monstrous they are a chaos beast that will emerge that comes upon the they are a slasher movie villain. They are a horror movie villain that chases you down because you jaywalked one time.
Mm-hmm. That is for ya.
Aaron, 2 dice.
Hup, hup, ho! That is a 9 and a 3.
Wonders Beyond Reckoning once more, and they find a scepter with the power to raise the dead. Whoops.
Okay.
Go away. There we go.
So Milo French Dip has the power to raise the dead. And is this the last character, is this like the conclusion of this stuff?
Not quite. The conclusion is to follow. This is just the event for Milo and happens to be the last event on the list.
All right. So Milo went in without the best intentions. So Milo gets a scepter that allows her to raise the dead. Milo becomes the person who is raising the people who try to throw you off. Milo is raising dead adventurers who are the army of the undead becomes hers to wield so that she can I think she wants to maybe try it again or reach the door. Just keep, like Jeff said, keep people from getting it. Perhaps Milo French Dip becomes the final boss.
Okay.
Perhaps.
So,
Cool. Love it.
Jeff, go ahead and please roll a d10, and whatever the result is, put a 0 after it and tell me that number.
60.
This is the percentage of the original party that survived their excursion to your doomed corridors.
Wow.
So, only 60% of the people made it. 60% of 8 times 0.6, whoops, 8 times 0.6 equals 4.8, which means
I mean, that makes sense with Justiceman's fate as a tentacle, as a
So
chaos beast.
3 people completely don't make it out, and 1 person makes it out, missing a clean 20% of their original self, physically or mentally.
I think Justiceman makes it out. I think we can call that makes it out but changed, and I think that ties in nicely with what we've got from Justiceman.
All right.
Yes.
Justice then gets highlighted in. Whoops! I have to get my text stuff. That's the text box. Sorry, I may have to adjust the overlay here in a second. People who are watching, I have to get my tools set there.
Welcome to my box. Hello.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hello. Hold on, let me poke it. Can I poke it?
You can.
It's this
try.
way, isn't it? There we go. Oh.
Okay, so there's going to be some intrusion on Aaron's box. Sorry about your box, Aaron.
No, it's okay. Come back. Wait, come back.
Wait,
No.
nope. I can fix this. I can
Come
fix
back.
it. Just no one's going to be able to read it, but it's whatever. Okay. Anyway.
Come back. Come back.
Whoops.
Sorry.
I moved the whole overlay. I was trying to be cute. I moved the whole overlay. Anyway. So, Justice is our point 8, right? So there are 3 people who definitely do not make it back alive.
Can I posit? Never mind. I gotta think this through.
The slip slider no longer exists because she gets a new start. Is that?
I think we can say Slip Slider definitely makes it out. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Slip slider makes it out, gets to redo entire life. Everything's dope in like a different alternate reality
Right.
that's full of joy.
And the Regent definitely makes it out too,
Yeah.
because that was their
They
fate.
sneaky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ruben Smokehouse is falling forever.
I don't think Ruben makes it out.
I
I think
don't
it's
know.
much more. I think that I will say I don't think Ruben never dies,
Oh.
But they don't make it out
Ever.
alive.
but they fall. They
Yeah, true, they
fall
don't
in
make
that
it out
void
alive.
for
Yeah.
eternity.
Yeah, they are the Simpsons episode. They are Ozzie Smith falling in the softball episode. And is that everybody? Is that all 3, or is there
no,
4?
we have 2 more we have to decide. Milo French Dip really seems like they might be part of the dungeon now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100. Yeah.
And then I get the same feeling about either Freelance Freddy Uberlift or the Viscount Ringtail, right?
I think I want it to be the Viscount. I like the idea that there is this kind of plays into nicely what I was like thinking about with that when I threw out the idea that they think it's the room, is like there is this room that will just trap you for eternity.
Yes.
Like it gives you there's this cursed room, and there's probably a million of these cursed rooms that will give you what you think on the most basic kind of almost obvious level what you want, right?
Oh,
Like Viscount,
I love that.
Viscount thought like they walk into a room and they see that it's full of it's this rich winery, and there's this hidden compartment with this wine that hasn't been made in 400 years, and is this perfect, beautiful wine that has been buried away. It is this incredible thing. They look at this and they're like, "Oh my God, it's this opulent chamber fit for a king."
I
And
made it.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
like, "All right,
did
I'm
it."
done," and it just traps you there forever. And it's like, "Haha, gotcha."
Yeah.
But the actual thing that you want, that is that thing that you want that you would never even admit, that is so buried deep in your heart.
Yes.
That's the thing that's in the door.
Yes. It makes me think that this dungeon is very much like this road that you follow, this path that you follow toward your greatest desire, which is behind the dangling door at the bottom. But there's so many distractions and pit stops along the way where if you make them, you are fucked, because that's not
Yeah,
your
you're
greatest.
done
You have to
forever.
know yourself and trust that your greatest desire, that's not it. That looks really tantalizing and really good. No, that's not really.
Yeah,
really. I know myself.
It's the stuff, and the terrifying part is that it is genuinely stuff like the Viscount genuinely looked at that chamber of wine and food and was like, "This is it. This is great." But you got to know deep down, there is something that I want more than that, and that
You have to be honest with yourself.
That constant confrontation of there is something that I want more than this. There's this agony of dragging your real desires out of your rib cage, right?
Yes.
Like it's this sense
Yes.
of like I see this,
Fuck.
and yet there's a thing that I know, like you have to be honest with yourself, but in this incredibly painful and like at times horrifying way of like I am now acknowledging this want that I have that is so unspoken.
And it's this beautiful metaphor for the dungeon we have, where it's about carrying weight and trying to be rid of it. And you know, the only people who actually get out and aren't consumed by this like cyclical mess are people who kind of like are honest with themselves and what they truly want, and let go of something and let go of that weight so that they can survive the, you know, the puzzle of the falling floor, basically.
And that the ultimate way to escape the dungeon safely is to be confronted with like you can be given the one thing that actually is your truest unspoken desire. You can be given to you right now at a cost, or you can fall to the earth. But at least, and like, there's that idea that like the real treasure is like, at least now you know, like now you know what the thing is. But like, it's that idea of like, yeah, you know what the thing is. Do you want to live in a world where you know what it is and you have to figure out a way to find it, or do you take it right now and take the devil's bargain?
So, on that note, please proceed with me to slide 4. We have some questions to wrap this up. Fine. Jeff, you're
I'm sorry, I moved the box.
Aaron, you proceed to...
All right,
I'm
willing to let go of my weight and float to the surface.
I rejected the dungeon and floated to the earth. All right, I'm here on slide 4.
Right, my question for you is, what bright thing was left by the adventurers?
Oh, I have a thought.
Go for it. It's all you, my friend.
It's very, to me, this idea of don't take the distractions type things, like to trust yourself. It's very Dark Souls. The chalked inscriptions on the ground that are like, watch out, dog ahead, are like these little cryptic whispers that are left behind by people. And all like the shit lords will leave behind messages that are like, take the cask, or like, take a drink. But the people who really are letting go of things, you have to kind of learn not to listen to those, I think. So I think the silence is what is left behind by like the good ones. That's the bright thing is nothing. And the malicious thing are cryptic whispers that will lead you astray. Because you have to trust yourself.
Well, then you've answered the second question as well.
Oh.
Because the second question is, how have you turned its brightness into corrupting shadow?
Ooh,
like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes. The adventurers left nothing, and the dungeon took that nothing and in some cases made it the cryptic whispers about what lies ahead.
Yes.
Tempting, pulling.
Oh, I can hear like the Viscount like in that room, and it's like, this might be my greatest desire, and it's like, drink, Viscount, drink. Feel yourself, like enjoy yourself. You've earned it. But like, you know what? I fucking have. You know.
So to an adventurer that finds the Viscount later, they are surrounded. You know, they have supped wine. They have tasted all of these fine gourmet foods, and there is this note on the underneath them that merely is their note to tell the world who they are and the treasures that they supped upon this day. And on it in chalk on the floor, it merely says, "Arby." We've got the meats.
Arby's sponsored this floating dungeon, so you have to like sort through all this very targeted marketing.
It's really targeted.
And the ghost of so much meat.
So much meat gone, lost meat.
The
free message just says like, you know, we have the meats. Thick meat ahead, and like
beware meat
high.
sweats.
Beware
Euro now available, and you're like, I actually that sounds kind of great, and then they got you.
Seasoned curlies, $4.99. You're like, that's not bad. Oh no!
Any of these 5 options available. Mix and match for $5. Oh my god, I could make a lot of combinations.
Fuck.
In the years since the adventurers, Who or what has taken up residence inside of your desperate passages? So this is the new monster moment, right? If we're doing a classic dungeon, right, you think of the Caves of Chaos, there's all kinds of random shit in there, no rhyme or reason for how they got there. So something new, some new monster, some new threat moves into the dungeon. What is it?
So can it be tied to one of the?
Absolutely.
Because I absolutely want it to be. I absolutely want it to be. I know that we said that Justiceman like makes it out sort of, but like the idea that I mean now I'm playing off of the AMFC name. The idea that the adjudicator wanders the hallways and will just will grab you from the shadows and tear you limb from limb. If it deems you as having broken the rules of the flying city, like there is the idea. What I visualize is like someone like flying up and like shooting a grappling hook and crawling up, being like the door's on the bottom. I'm just gonna come up. They get halfway up and like a cloud forms around them and tentacle wraps around their neck and like the adjudicator grabs them and is like, no, you have to go through the city and like tear and like that is the thing that wanders the halls.
Can I have a note, Jeff? That the tentacle arms, the right arm of Justiceman, the tentacle is named Beef, and the left one is named Cheddar. So it's all beef and cheddar coming for you.
Beef and cheddar coming at you.
And you hear like this slurping, meat slapping sound like on the floor, and that's like you have
Aaron,
to
are we
know.
talking about your hog again?
Yes, for the last time. Yes. No. But I think part of it is like. You have to learn to the dungeon becomes in this case about like listening. It becomes much more of like it's an added danger where like yes you have to listen for the whispers and learn to trust yourself and listen to inner silence, but also you basically have a fucking tyrant from Resident Evil following you who will just gobble you up because it's an asshole.
It's the difference between Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 or 3, right? Like it's the difference between
upgraded inventory system and new challenges.
That is correct. Now there are
scenarios.
Now there are red herbs and green herbs that you mix together to make blue herbs.
That is correct. Yeah.
Like it is before this was a horrible nightmare space. Now there's a horrible nightmare space and you might run into Nemesis and the Nemesis is a randomly generated thing.
There's beef and cheddar.
So
like the camera angle slightly changes and you just go, oh no, not now.
Two questions. One question, two parts. Last question. What did the new resident add to your structure? And what price did the dungeon extract from them?
Oh. May I have a thought? Sorry. God, what's the tunnel called? The Terra. What was the thing I made called? Jeez. The terrestrial spire at the bottom now is like basically its spawn point. It's this like, it used to be like a spiral staircase that you could take down. It's like a drill bit. It's like a spooky dungeon Castlevania. But now it's this like sea of writhing tentacles and, you know, like gnashing teeth. It basically looks like a squid mouth, like a beak type thing is at the bottom. And so like if you venture down there, so basically on your way down to the door to infinite desire, now there are like tentacles on it. Like not only are you being followed by the tyrant, now it's like in the terrestrial spire, it's just full of tentacles and teeth, and it's just become just an absolute mess. Does that work?
Yes.
Yeah. I love that.
And what price did the dungeon extract from Justiceman B and C?
Jeff, you have anything?
It
was like $1.99, I think, for that beef and cheddar. Sorry.
The beef and cheddar is now $7.99.
I think it took.
How much is a beef and cheddar now? Sorry.
Aaron, you look that up. Give me an answer. I think the answer is like it took their. What are their pronouns? I just want to make sure I got it right. There. It took their idealism. It took their. They were misguided and they were in their own way toxic, but they at least had an ideal that they believed in, and it has taken that. And now there is nothing but
wrath. That's sad.
Like, And in some ways, it is fitting because they were an embodiment of a corrupt and unjust system, and thus I shed no tears for them. But there is something tragic about somebody that wanted one thing, and now they no longer even get to have the one thing that they were chasing after.
All right. The last thing we do at the end of the fallow session is we return to the map of the dungeon, and we add something more to the dungeon as it grows and expands. Because you can just keep playing this game over and over again and expanding what the dungeon is. You can make a mecha dungeon if you want to. So
it was $3.99, by the way.
Oh,
I had to
nice.
say that. I had to it had to be canonical.
That's not bad.
Sorry.
I am going to add. Let's see. We'll make it like that. We'll turn it like that, and we're gonna turn it dark gray and call it Fabled.
Ugh. It's good. It's a good start.
Fabled Malachite.
That's very good.
That is the material that Freelance Freddy Uberlift was making into arrows.
Mm.
That rules. That rules.
It does roll. Oh, sorry. When I click, it moves. I didn't know that. Oh no, it doesn't. Only
no,
when you move.
no,
You are boss.
I moved it to the back so it can be behind the island base and look like it's part of the.
Oh, fun. So what's left now?
Whatever well, you two have to add something if you wish to.
I do.
I do wish to.
But that's the end of one round of play, and us
That's
being
fucking
at
dope.
our relative time limit. Once you make your additions, we're gonna pitch the Kickstarter again and do our outs. But while you're adding, I will just tell people who are watching. You might think that right now would be when I tell you about the Kickstarter for the game that we just played. It's not. That's not what I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to tell you about Campaign Skyjack's Courier's Call.
Yes!
Because I've been plugging this Kickstarter at the end of every episode of this, because we are on the One Shot Twitch channel, thanks to the beneficence of James D'Amato. So if you like the idea of teenage characters learning about themselves, learning about the world, flying through the air on basically a sky pirate ship and delivering mail, they're about to go to the fucking prom? Like, are you kidding me?
Prom.
It's dope.
We do have prom.
They have a
We do have
Kickstarter
prom.
going on right now. It is already funded, just like You Are the Dungeon is already funded. They are rolling through stretch goals. They are on the doorstep, nay, the veritable threshold of unlocking at $20,000 a new song from Arnie Parrott, which is dope. Arnie makes great music, has done all the music for the campaign podcast and for Skyjacks, and a new song is what everybody needs. So, if you have not already backed that, follow that link right there. Twigget
Do
just
it.
said, or Twiggeth?
Oh my god.
Just said they upped their pledge. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
So, go over and check that out. It's well worth your time and effort. It's a fantastic show to listen to. And in the meantime,
also of note,
Yes.
is that right now they are $221
Oh.
from the $17,000 stretch goal,
which is where Jeff and Aaron,
the two of us will sit down with James and Drew, and we will do an All My Fantasy Skyjacks episode where we will introduce some lore into the world, and more specifically, the greatest injustice that has happened in the world since the Olive Garden has not responded to my tweets. That is to say that the fabled Skyjack soda episode
Release
will
it!
be recorded.
Release the soda.
Release the soda
That's
episode.
right.
Release the soda
Release
episode.
the soda episode movement will be heard. We are so close to the Release the Soda episode movement being able to share the gift with the world. We have done it. The fan response will have finally moved mountains, and the soda episode will be released.
They told us it would be impossible, but when you have undeniable belief in yourself, you can make the impossible possible. And I just want to thank everybody in this chat for making the soda episode almost possible.
We're so close to the soda. Hashtag release the soda episode.
That is
James
right.
can't shut down the truth.
James can't shut down the truth.
All right.
All right.
Now,
Anyway,
I have a thing.
To wrap up the dungeon, I see that we have the Chambers of False Desires and Trickery.
Oh,
has
I
been
forgot to
added.
name mine.
And Aaron is about to name whatever the fucking pit of Justice McJustice Bird or whatever their name is.
I can't make a text box.
There's a text tool up next to the arrow. Just select
I
that.
see it.
Select that and draw a text box to your
Okay, there we
size
go.
of choice. There you go.
Okay.
The Hall of Mirrors.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So, my friends, we have been the dungeon. This is how this game works, and I am so hyped to
Rules.
have
Game rules.
had the two of you on this show with me. This is, I mean, it makes perfect sense that you know, the people who, especially one of the two people who directly inspired this game, would just absolutely fucking rip ass at it.
True.
You two were fantastic. I'm so happy to have had you on as guests.
ruled.
Jeff, as we're heading out, go ahead and retell the people who you are and where they can find you, what you have going on.
Absolutely. My name is Jeff Stormer. I'm a podcaster, game designer, and the unofficial official LARP designer of the Olive Garden restaurant. You can find my work at jeffstormer.com. You can find the podcasts that I produce. That's Party of One, an actual play podcast focused on two-player role-playing experiences. You can find that at partyofonepodcast.com. You can also find All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by listener prompts. You can find that at oneshotpodcast.com. And you can find me on Twitter at partyofonepod.
Boom. If you liked this kind of energy and what Jeff and I got going on with bouncing ideas back and forth, building on something that starts a little silly but ends with like kind of a good foundation and strong, cool fantasy elements, you will really love our show. This is literally what we do every week, and now I want to use the dungeon and play it because this is fucking sick for creating locales. But this is kind of what we do. So come check out All My Fantasy Children and hang with us. And back to Skyjack's Courier's Call because I'm on that. So are some amazing people, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Season 2, y'all are not ready. We're going to have so much more fun because now we know a lot more who these kids are, and we're excited to play as them. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Tanasias. If you followed me and you say, I listened to this stream, I will give you a compliment.
There you go.
Custom compliment.
All right, and now is the time when I tell you about the Kickstarter that is going on for this game that you just spent an hour watching. This is You Are the Dungeon. It is on Kickstarter right now. We are coming into the second week of funding. It is well overfunded, but we are on our way to our $18,000 stretch goal, which is to have Gannon Reedy of the Neo Scum podcast do an entire tarot deck's worth of art. 78 tarot cards done by the man himself. If we somehow hit $30,000, there will be physical decks. As a favor to me tonight, we are 5 backers away from a clean 500. We've gotten a few while we've been recording this or streaming this. If you dig this, if you've already backed, go tell a friend. If you have not already backed, $10 gets you in, and you can get it to 500 tonight. That would just make my night. It'd be a nice little cap to have on there.
I backed while I was on this stream.
Fuck yeah.
It is that easy.
There you go.
You could be recording a stream with the creator of the game and go, "Oh, I should back this," and then back it, and then you won't even be interrupting the stream. You just do it and knock it out.
Also, like, you and your friends can do like this was simple and fucking dope. Imagine this with like a group of friends with some treats and snacks and like fun time talk, or at like a con, sitting around those tables, fucking around, having a good time. This game is exactly, honestly, what you need as like an icebreaker for new casts, for actual plays. This is prime time shit right here. So
and
open that wallet.
In the chat just got us to 496 backers. Thank you very much, Shieldblade. I really appreciate you. And with that, he has been Eric Catano-Sayas. He has been Jeff Stormer. I have been Tracy Barnett, and we have been The Dungeon. Thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.